Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Plays. All right, Marvel Champions is on the board, and after a couple of losses with Star-Lord versus Expert Rhino, we're switching over to Gamora. New deck, so we're going to go slow here as we go through the cards, and we got standard Rhino on the board. So we've got Gamora, who has 3 recovery, hand size is 6, and 10 hit points. So I'm going to play with the pre-constructed deck, which is what I usually do, like right when these cards come out. She's got Skilled Tactician, which says I can include up to 6 attack and or thwart events in your deck from aspects other than your chosen aspect. In the deck, there's already, it's an aggression deck, I believe, with 3 protection cards in there and 3 justice cards in there to make up that 6 attack and thwart events. So as an action, I can look at the top card of my deck. If it's an attack or thwart event, draw it. Limit once per round. So that's pretty cool. Get some extra cards. I like the artwork. The artwork on Gamora on both sides, her alter ego and her hero side, is pretty cool. All right. So we got 2 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. Pretty awesome. So finesse is response after you play an attack event. Remove 1 threat from a scheme. Limit once per phase. Then precision, response after you play a thwart event, deal 1 damage to an enemy, limit once per phase. And she's got a hand size of 5 on her hero side, so she's looking pretty rocking. She's got a bunch of, when I remember going through her deck, she has a bunch of cards that do both thwart and attack, so this should be fairly interesting. All right, so we're going to start off with a hand size of 6, so we're going to grab 6 cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and like I said, it's probably be slow because we got a lot of cards to look at because it's a new hero. So let's see what we've got here. Well, we got 2 impedes, so there's our justice cards. Hey, energy. All right, we all know what energy is. Clobber. So clobber is 2 cost event, and it says hero action. Deal 3 damage to an enemy. If this is the first card you played this round, return this card to your hand. Ooh, that's nice. All right, let's get a little bit of a recycle kind of action going there. We've got impede, which says hero action thwart, remove 3 threat from the main scheme. This is the first card you've played this round, return this card to your hand. All right, we see kind of some recycling going on there. Ooh, this card looked good. Cross counter. Hero interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage, prevent 3 of that damage, deal 1 damage to an enemy, remove 1 threat from a scheme. Attack, defense, thwart. I think we'll be holding on to that one. That looks nice. All right, then we have Conditioning Room, which looks like it's competing for best artwork in the game. So Conditioning Room, alter ego action, exhaust Conditioning Room, return the bottommost attack or thwart event from your discard pile to your hand, heal 1 damage from Gamora. All right, so it's an alter ego action. Okay, from your discard pile to your hand. All right, very interesting. All right, so what are we going to do here? We're not going to use these impedes, I don't think. So we're going to discard the impedes. We're going to get 2 other cards and just see what we get here. So we have a forward momentum and a hit and run. So hit and run is 3 cost, attack thwart, deal 2 damage to an enemy, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Pretty cool, but we're not in that situation where we've got a bunch of stuff yet. Forward momentum, hero action, thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme, 5 threat instead of this if you have played an attack event this turn. All right, so you normally do 3, but if you're doing if you've done an attack, you get to do even more. Okay. All right, so what are we gonna do here? Wow. So let's look at Gamora here. So Gamora has, look at the top card of your deck. If its card is an attack or thwart event, draw it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna look at the top card of our deck, and it's a set the pace, which is a thwart event. So we're gonna draw that. Now, it's not going to do me much good because it's a remove a threat from a scheme, and we don't have any of that out there right now. But it is another resource, which is nice. All right. We can use set the pace. to play Conditioning Room. So Conditioning Room is going to come out. Exhaust Conditioning Room, Alter Ego, return the bottommost attack or thwart event from your discard pile to your hand, heal 1 damage from Gamora. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to bring Conditioning Room into play. Since we're still Alter Ego, we'll go ahead and exhaust it. We're going to remove our bottommost. So our bottommost is going to be this one. It's going to come back to my hand. All right, I have to be really careful about, I tend to look in my discard pile and shuffle through stuff. I need to make sure to leave it alone because we have this whole bottommost thing, which is kind of interesting. So return the bottommost attack or thwart event from your discard pile to your hand. Heal 1 damage from Gamora. There's no damage to heal on her. All right, so next up, we're going to go over to Gamora. And I think we're going to be doing some damage. So what are we going to do? I think we're going to use our energy to play Clobber. So Clobber says, deal 3 damage to an enemy. If this is the first card you have played this round, return this card to your hand. Well, it's not the first card I played this round, so it's not going to go back to my hand. Because I played other cards. I played my Conditioning Room and some other stuff. So we're going to do 3 damage with that attack event. I do have after you play an attack event, remove 1 threat from a scheme, so it doesn't do me any good. But we're going to do 3 to Rhino. All right, and I think we're just going to go ahead and attack. And do another 2 to Rhino, so he's down to 9 now. And I should have just left that other chip out there. It would have made things easier. All right, now I'm sitting on these cards, and I think I want to use hold on to my cross counter, but these other cards really don't do me a lot of good. I think I will hold on to my hit and run. We're going to get rid of our impede and our forward momentum. And we're going to be done. All right, so we're going to stand back up. We're going to draw back up to a hand size of 5. All right, so we got another hit and run, combat training, and I set the pace. All right. Well, we got a lot of threat removal, but not much threat. But that's about to change. We're going to get some threat. All right, so first off, it's the villain's turn. We put 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino is going to see Gamora out there, and he's going to come attack. So he's going to attack for 2. We're just going to take this. Let's see here. He's attacking for 2. He's going to get a boost of 2, so he's going to hit me for 4. All right, so at this point, we're going to use our cross counter. So cross counter counts is 1. So when you would take any amount of damage this turn, prevent 3 of that damage. So he was going to do 4, so I am going to take 1 damage. So let's start there. We're going to do our 1 damage. 1. All right, then we have deal 1 damage to an enemy, remove 1 threat from a scheme. Now when our cross counter goes off, it's an attack, defense, thwart. So Gamora's ability is going to kick in also, which says these are once per phase. After you play an attack event, remove 1 threat from a scheme. After you play a thwart event, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So that's going to net us 2 damage and 2 threat. So, all right, 2 damage with the cross counter. I'm going to get rid of 2 threat, but there's only 1 threat to get rid of out there. All right, and we only took 1, so that worked out pretty well. All right, so now we're going to get encounter card. Counter card is Explosion. When revealed, if Bomb Scare is in play, assign X damage. If Bomb Scare is not in play, this card gains Surge. So we're going to Surge on the Explosion. And we get Breaking and Taken is going to come into play. All right, when revealed, place 1 additional threat here per player, and it starts with 2. All right, so we're going to get 3 threat on the Breaking and Taken. Boop. Boop. All right. That is the end of Rhino's turn. Now we're back over to the hero turn. Now my problem is I played my cross counter, which cut down on my cards in my hand. So I can't actually play. I would kind of like to play my hit and run, which says it's an attack thwart, deal 2 damage, remove 2 threat from a scheme. and I would get my bonus ones. I could do 3 and take 3 off, but I can't pull that off right now. So I think I'm going to work on getting rid of that threat, or I could hold on to my hit and run for next turn, maybe use it next turn, or I could put my combat training out there. I would use up both of my hit and runs. I don't know that I like that aspect, but I would start doing more damage. Do I want it? No. Yes. Okay, so we're going to put our combat training out. Going to use both of our hit and runs to pay for combat training. And then we're going to thwart for 2 and knock breaking and taking down to 1. All right, then we're going to be done. So we're going to stand back up. We're going to draw 5 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, all sorts of new stuff. What do we have here? We have Angela. Angela has 0 thwart. She costs 0 to bring into play. After Angela enters play under your control, search the top 10 cards of the encounter deck for a minion, put it into play, engaged with you. Shuffle the encounter deck. If a minion was not into play this way, discard Angela. All right, so she's a 0 cost. So a minion's going to come out, and she has 3 health and attacks for 2. Wow, so she's pretty tough. All right, we've got a Godslayer, which says when your hero makes a basic attack against a unique enemy, such as Rhino, exhaust Godslayer, your hero gets +2 for this attack. Nice. All right, and we've got Drax. Is that possibly for 3? Play only if your identity has the Guardian trait. Drax cannot attack minions. He's got a health of 4, and he attacks for 3. Holy cow. All right. Forward momentum we saw already. That's if I've done an attack event, I get 5 threat removal. And then finally we've got Gamora's sword, which says restricted. And then after you play an attack event, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So toss out even more damage. All right. But we have to see how this round goes. I'm a little bit scared about that because of breaking and taking's out there. But let's see what happens. So we're going to go over to Rhino. First thing is we're going to put 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino is going to see Gamora out there. Now, do I take this hit or do I defend against it? Because we're going to get 2 cards. I think I will take this hit. All right, so he's attacking for 2. He get a boost and he's going to hit me for 1 more. So he's going to hit me for 3. We're going to go up to 4 damage. And then we're going to get 2 cards because of the breaking and taking. So 1, 2. All right, card number 1 is I'm tough. When revealed, give Rhino a tough status card. All right, so he's going to get tough. And where's a tough Rhino? There's a tough Rhino. All right, card number 2 is Stampede. When revealed, Rhino attacks you. If the character is damaged by this attack, the character is stunned. Oh, all right. So Rhino's going to come to attack me. I think we're going to defend against this one. So Rhino's attacking for 2. We can get a boost of none. That worked out extremely well. All right. So because I don't take any damage, I don't get the stun effect. All right. Good time to defend. Worked out well. All right. So that's the end of Rhino's turn, and we're back over to the hero's turn. Okay. Now we've got thwart. We can bring Angela in. We would have to go get a minion if we bring her in. She costs 0, so that's kind of fun. I am starting the round tapped out already, which is a little bit on the unfortunate side. The other thing is Angela doesn't thwart, which is also unfortunate. I would kind of like to get Drax into play, but if I bring Drax into play, then I can't bring... Could also bring my Godslayer into play, which is huge. I would get +2 attack against Rhino, but... Or I've got my sword, which is going to give me Every time I play attack event, deal 1 damage to an enemy would help me ping things like that tough off of there. I think what I need to do is get Drax into play because I need to get, I think I need to get the breaking and taken out. Then we can bring an enemy out too. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do 1, 2, 3. We're going to bring Drax into play. As much as I would like to bring Gamora's weapons into play, I think bringing Drax out is the better idea. All right, when Drax comes into play, he can't attack minions. All right, so we're going to hold on to him. Then we're going to bring Angela into play. Yes, we're going to go ahead and bring Angela into play. So Angela says when she comes into play, if Angela enters play under your control, search the top 10 cards in the encounter deck for a minion, put it into play engaged with you, shuffle the encounter deck. All right, if I don't find a minion, then she doesn't come into play. So we're going to look at the top 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, hey, I happen to just draw 10. So we've got Hydra Bombers, Hydra Mercenary, Shocker, Sandman, and Hydra Bomber. Fortunately, Drax cannot attack minions, so I think we're going to bring a Hydra Bomber into play. All right, then we're going to shuffle the deck. All right, we're going to go ahead and have Angela attack that minion. So she's going to attack the minion. She attacks for 2. That's going to take out the Hydra Bomber. Okay, so also he came into play. He wasn't revealed, so he didn't do his Hydra Bomber-y thing. All right, she's going to take 1 from that. All right, we're going to have Drax go ahead and we're going to have him thwart, which is not Drax's strong suit, but we're going to get rid of the breaking and taking. All right. It'll come back out shortly. All right, so the next question is, do I take a little break, take a little bit of downtime here? I think so. I think we're going to flip over to other Gamora. All right, and it says, look at the top card of your deck. If that card is an attack or thwart event, draw it. So we're going to take a look. It's an attack, so we're going to go ahead and draw it. All right. And then I could use, so let's use our conditioning room, which says, exhaust conditioning room, return the bottommost attack or thwart event from your discard pile to your hand, heal 1 damage to Gamora. So we're going to exhaust that. We're going to get our bottommost attack or thwart event, which is that one. And heal 1 damage to Gamora, which I can do. All right. So we're going to be done at that point. Ready, ready, ready up. All right. And then we're going to hold on to both of those and draw back up to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Into my turn, we're going to go over to Rhino's turn. Oop, let's unexhaust our conditioning room. All right, Rhino's turn. First thing, we're going to put 1 threat on the main scheme. It's going to go up to 2. Rhino is going to see Gamora out there, alter ego form, so he's going to scheme. He's going to scheme for 1. He's going to get a boost of 1. So he's going to scheme for 2. All right, we're up to 4 on the main scheme. Then we're drawing counter card. Counter card is crowd control. So it's going to be crisis, and we're going to get 2 per player on there. So we have to take that out first. So while the scheme is in play, you cannot remove threat from the main scheme. All right. So that's going to have 2 on it. All right. End of the villain's turn. We're over to the hero's turn. Okay, so where do we want to start here? I think we're going to start off with, let's use our conditioning room. So return the bottommost attack or thwart event to your hand. Heal 1 damage from Gamora. So Gamora's going to heal 1. We're also going to get our bottommost attack or thwart event. So that's going to be set the pace. All right. Then we're going to look at the top card of my deck. If it's an attack or thwart event, draw it. Limit once per round. So we get that's an attack event. All right. Wow, I've got a lot of cards at this point in time. So let's see. Do I have some new cards out there? So we've got our Decisive Blow, which says deal 4 damage to an enemy, 7 damage if you played a thwart event this turn. Okay, so that could be a lot of damage. We've got an Acrobatic Move, which says deal 2 damage to an enemy for a cost of 0. That's nice. We've got our Clobber is back in our hand. We actually have 2 Decisive Blows. We have we've got a first hit. What's first hit do? First hit says hero action, deal 2 damage to the villain. Hero interrupt, when a minion initiates attack, deal 2 damage to that minion. Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. How are we going to play this one out? So if I do the Clobber first, I don't think we're going to do the Clobber. I think we're going to do our set the pace first. So we're going to flip over to Gamora. And we're going to do set the pace, which says remove 1 threat from a scheme. All right, so set the pace says remove 1 threat from a scheme. We're going to take 1 off of crowd control because it's got the crisis icon. That's the only one we can do it from. Now, Gamora says after you play a thwart event, which I just did, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So ping, we're going to ping off the tough. All right. Next thing we can do is we can do a Decisive Blow. So we're going to spend 2 and we're going to do Decisive Blow. So Decisive Blow says deal 4 damage to an enemy, 7 damage instead if you played a thwart event this turn, which I just did. I played a thwart event. I set the pace. So we're going to do 7 damage to Rhino. All right, so that's going to knock out Rhino. And Rhino 2 is going to come into play. All right, when Rhino 2 comes into play, we get a break-in and taken. So there's our break-in and taken is going to come into play. Let's move Gamora or Nebula over just a little bit. Luckily, she hasn't come into play yet. All right, break-in and taken is back. That's going to have 3 on it. Let's see here. We just did an attack event. When we do an attack event for the first time, we get a response that says remove 1 threat from a scheme. And we're going to take it off the crowd control. Okay. Rhino number 2 is at 15 hit points. So let's get his hit points out there. All right, so next up, we're going to do another Decisive Blow. So we're going to do 2, 4. We're going to spend 2 to pay another Decisive Blow. So we're going to do 7 damage because we played a thwart event already this turn. So we're going to do 7 damage to Rhino. Let's see here. We're going to go from 10 or 15 down to 8. So there we go. 2, 1. I think we might have it, actually. All right, then we will attack with Drax. So Drax is going to attack. He's going to do 3 damage. That's going to move him up to 2. All right, Angela's going to attack. She attacks for 2. It's going to knock him down to 3. Oh, it's looking good. And then actually, we can finish him off with Gamora, because Gamora attacks for 2, and then I have my combat training, so we do 3. That's enough to take out Rhino. There we go. All right. Not as fast as the Star-Lord thing, but pretty dang quick. That worked pretty well. So there was a lot of threat out there on things, but I could have gone another way and probably cleaned up a lot of threat had I chosen to go that way. I still had another 2 damage in my hand there, another 2 damage there. That worked out pretty well. I don't think I actually drew all that great. The 2 decisive blows were pretty massive. So Rhino had, what he had, a toughness. He had over 5 hit points, and we were able to flip him and take him out all in one round. So that's pretty good. That's nice. I took 2 damage there. I did a little bit of healing using my conditioning room. That worked out pretty well. And I didn't have to actually go down. I was wondering whether I was going to need a rest or not, but the conditioning room, I think, got me close enough that I didn't really need to do the rest. Plus, I had some allies out there. If things had gone badly, they could have taken a shot from Rhino. So pretty happy with that. So there's our first win with Gamora. I think I'd like to do another one versus Rhino here. I'm not so sure about her deck. I've got a feeling if you got to go in and choose cards, you could do things that are a lot better. There's a lot of interesting cards in here that have kind of like cool effects and play off of each other. I don't know that I would work so hard for the cards to play off each other the way that they do right now if I were to build this deck myself. Might be a little bit more straightforward unless this does this, which makes this and that and all that kind of stuff work. So anyway, got the win. First out with Gamora. She's looking pretty good. So I don't think she's uber character, but I think she's pretty good. So we'll see how the second game goes and see how that works out. And we'll do at least another standard one, maybe 2 if we lose the next one, and then we'll move on to expert after that. So, all right, there we go. If I missed something, let me know. Gamora's got a lot of things where the cards interact with each other. She's interacting with other cards, so it is possible that I missed something there. If I did, let me know in the comments. And let me know what you think about Gamora. Think she's a good character? She's good as Star-Lord? That's my question. So let me know what you think. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.